Yo, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another Clueless Yanks podcast. It's your boy Logan.
What up? It's Jake. What's good?
Hola, niños.
So, what's going on, everybody? How'd y'all's weekends go? Y'all watch the Super Bowl?
Hell yeah!
Yes, sir.
Shit.
Had to.
That shitty Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We watched it.
It's the Super Bowl. 2 of the last 3 Super Bowls have been absolutely terrible.
Yeah. Not to mention the officiating was.
Yeah, it's kind of got
atrocious.
some like parallels with the Premier League.
Good
the
God.
officiating.
Yeah. American football.
It's funny because there was an incident last night where it was right before halftime. Tom Brady threw that deep ball to Mike Evans. Like Mike Evans' freaking cleat hit the back of the dude's leg or some shit, and they both tripped and fell. That was the exact same shit that happened to David Luiz when he got the penalty against Wolves in the midweek. And both were absolutely terrible calls by both sets of referees. So
you love to see it. It's beautiful.
Yeah, kind of a disappointing Super Bowl. Some that we Americans look forward to, and wasn't a very
The
interesting
weekend was
one.
good. I like the halftime show.
Premier League was much more interesting over the weekend than the Super Bowl was. I will say that. So, all right, let's jump right into the action, and we're going to start with the Arsenal and slaying it. It wasn't the greatest week, was it?
Man, I just got my first Arsenal jersey today, and I was so happy for it to come in.
And then you remembered how bad we sucked the last 2 games.
That's why I realized how bad we were this fucking past week, man.
I will say I don't think it was all on us, but yeah, we weren't the greatest.
Wolves was not our fault.
The refs helped you as much as they could.
Okay.
Stop.
We're gonna get into the refs later on as well, but we have to touch on it now. We'll start with the Wolves game. Obviously, it happened. It was the first game that Arsenal played this past week, and Arsenal. Honestly, that first 47 minutes of the game, that was some of the best football we've played literally all season. We were absolutely dominating them, shot after shot. We probably should have had 3 or 4 goals, but that goal by Pepe that shit was special. The fucking he holds off Semedo, out muscles him, and then nutmegs Ruben Neves, and then with his weak foot curls it into the far corner. That was pretty disgusting. But yeah, we should have scored more. Saka, what was in the first minute? Should have scored, hit the post.
Dude, that was depressing as shit.
We had an offside goal disallowed, where, like I said, it was literally 3 inches offside, which I guess that's the rule, but it's unfortunate. And then I think there was another instance where we probably should have scored as well. So yeah, we could have easily had 3 or 4 goals, and then right before halftime, it was the 47th minute. Actually, I think it was into the 48th minute, even though there's only supposed to be 2 minutes of added time. We give the ball away in midfield. David Luiz was up in midfield trying to challenge for the ball, so we didn't have the right numbers at the back. And Podence, I believe is who it was for Wolves, played through William Jose. And the tip of his cleat, the tip of his studs, nick David Luiz's knee. And he falls to the ground like he's just been shot. And then, look, okay, I don't think it's a penalty, to be honest with you, because I saw something. An ex-referee said that accidental contact doesn't have to be a penalty. And obviously that's accidental contact. David Luiz is just running. He had no intention of hitting William Jose.
It looked malicious to me.
You look malicious.
That's how referees view it. So, but I don't even know if it's a pen, but I can sit here. I can accept the penalty because there was contact. So I'm not going to be too griped about that. But then the red card,
it's literally the rules. You can't give a penalty in a red on accidental contact. That's literally the
rules.
He
practically killed the man.
The rules are so bad because look, this is what I heard. This is all I heard from people on the outside. It was if David Luiz went for the ball and went through William Jose through behind and tried to go for the ball, he would have only gotten a yellow and a penalty instead of a red. So even if he just completely takes the guy out, it's a yellow card just because he was attempting, in quotations, to go for the ball. And one, that's a dumbass rule, and then 2, I bring it back to we played Chelsea last season. David Luiz took out Tammy Abraham as the last defender, but he was going for the ball, and he missed the ball. He took out Abraham. Abraham got a penalty, and David Luiz got sent off in that situation too. So it should have been one or the other. I don't understand it. The officiating in the Premier League, it's just so fucking bad.
Would you like to know what it is? Would you like to know?
Go ahead and tell me.
It is the agenda that the refs have against the Arsenal.
No, I'm someone that I don't like to sit here and complain about refs. I think that Premier League refs are just terrible in general. You see almost every single team at some point during the year is going to get shafted, unless you're Manchester United. But yeah, okay. Even all jokes aside, they actually kind of got screwed in an incident against Sheffield United a couple weeks ago. But every team's going to get their bad calls. But if you look at it, Arsenal consistently gets more bad calls against them than any other team in the Premier League, and it's not even close. At least in the Big Six teams. Obviously, I don't follow the rest of the Premier League as closely as I do the Big Six. But Arsenal, the amount of calls that go against them, it's enough calls to go against them compared to the other 5 teams in the Big Six combined. It's kind of unreal at this point, and it just completely changes the game. We're on a decent run of form, especially in the league. We hadn't lost a game in the league in 6 or 7 games, and we're absolutely dominating that game. I think if we give away a penalty in that situation, I still trust us without a red card, without going a man down. I still trust us to probably go on and win that game 3 or 4-1 in the second half. Because we were just taking it to Wolves. But we get the red card, completely changes the game. João Moutinho comes out in the second half, hasn't scored a goal in the Premier League in 15 months, and he takes a rip from 35 yards, the shot of his life. Just an absolutely incredible shot. Of course, it has to be against us. And they take the lead 2-1, and then honestly, the rest of the game was kind of dead. Wolves had a possession, which is obviously going to happen when you're up a man and then eventually up 2 men because Leno kind of had a stroke and handled the ball outside of his box.
I was going to say, that was really depressing. He went from being SportsCenter top 10 last week to getting a fucking red and getting sent off this week for having a stroke.
I can't even be too upset at him, to be fair, because it's reactionary. It was raining. The grass was slick, and it took a weird bounce up to him. And your reaction as a goalie in that situation is to use your hand, even though you're not supposed to. But if I'm just let it go. If they score to make it 3-1, I guess whatever. We probably weren't going to win that game regardless. So, I would just let it go. But I'm not going to be too mad at Leno. He's been one of our best players the last couple seasons. But yeah, my gripe in that game is with the officials, with the referees. And I think we kind of definitely got shafted in that game. And so, yeah, I'm not going to blame Arteta. I'm not going to blame the boys too much for that game. But then we move on to the weekend against Aston Villa. This is where more of the blame will go to Arteta and the players. But once again, we had decisions in the game that did not go our way. So obviously, your boy Cedric Sling, I don't know what the hell he's doing earlier in the game.
I don't know.
I saw that. That was really bad.
Dude.
That was so bad.
I think what he's trying to the only explanation I can give is that he doesn't want to slam it back at Gabriel, because then that could cause him to take a bad touch. So he kind of just tapped it back to him. But bro, he just put Gabriel in no man's land. And then Holding, I don't exactly know what he's doing in the box. Aston Villa only had one player in the box, their striker Ollie Watkins, and Holding is just standing a couple feet away from him for no reason, just leaving him unmarked. And it's a good cross in by Traore and Watkins, which is kind of funny. Matty Ryan, who got his debut for Arsenal, he probably would have saved it, but it took that deflection off Holding, which took it wide.
That was unfortunate.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Ryan was probably one of the only players, if not the only player for Arsenal, that could kind of hold his head up high after that game. But 1-0 after 75 seconds, and we were never able to
that's how it ends.
To climb back. I want to ask you, Sling. So if a guy is through on goal, it doesn't matter if he's in the penalty box, doesn't matter if he's 40 yards away like Bukayo Saka was. If he's through on goal and that last defender cleans him out, shouldn't it be a red card?
Usually I would say yes, but we are Arsenal.
Yep, that's the problem.
We don't get that call. Just know I'm going to kill myself, and I'm sick and tired of what's been going on. I really.
But it's just a different standard of refereeing.
Bad.
It's funny because Villa played. Who did they play? They played somebody earlier in the season and had a decision just like that give a red card. And yet, in our instance, it didn't get a red card. And it's oddly enough, Arsenal has also had a situation like that. I think it was 8-9 years ago in the Premier League, where our last defender took a guy out just past the halfway line, but because he was the last defender, he got a red card. You want to know who that Arsenal player was?
Who was it?
Our boss, Mikel Arteta. He got a red card in that situation. But Ezri Konsa for Villa, he can do it, and he's just given yellow.
I have because I watched that happen, and I think the call for if it was a foul was iffy.
No, chill.
No. Listen. No. This isn't.
God.
Listen, I thought that it was iffy because if you're gonna call it a foul there and it's just a straight up foul, he is the last dude back, and it should have been a red. I agree with that, but I think it could have gone 50-50 where he even said it's yes, it was a foul or no, it wasn't.
Yeah, but okay,
the
so
fact
the problem
that you did because you called it a foul, then it should be a red.
Yeah, well, I've seen that argument because it does look like Saka may have initiated the contact, but in that situation, they're always going to give the foul to the guy that originally has the ball. And two, if you actually look back at it before the kick happens, Konsa is pulling Saka down by his arm. So I mean, that could have been a foul as well. So
yeah.
I mean, that's just a clear red card in my opinion, and we don't get it. What's funny enough is that Konsa gets a yellow. About 10 minutes later, before halftime, he steps on Thomas Partey's foot, which should be another yellow. So he should have gotten sent off twice in the match. He didn't get sent off once. I mean, we were pretty. I mean, besides the referee, we weren't very good in that game. We were lacking ideas in the final third. Tyrone Mings turns into fucking Cannavaro every single time he plays Arsenal. It's absolutely unreal. He put in 2 goal-saving blocks that were just unreal. If it wasn't for him, we'd probably win that game 2-1 off those 2 chances. But yeah, and this is where, look, I have been adamant about my support for Mikel Arteta. I know that our results aren't going our way. I have been adamant about, though, I can see the direction that the club is going. I can see a style of play that he wants to implement. I can see the players. I mean, we don't really lose off of a lack of effort, in my opinion. It's kind of like a lack of quality slash mistakes and final decisions. But I don't understand how you have Gabriel Martinelli and even Denny Ceballos on the bench with 15 minutes left in the game, and you take off a player and you bring on William. Like that, I can't sit here and defend him for that. There's no defense.
I'm sick and tired of seeing that motherfucker come on the field for us in the second half.
Yo, I was talking to you, Sling, about this. I genuinely think that there may be a clause in his contract where he has to play. I don't see any other explanation otherwise.
I'm starting to think that there really is, because there's no other explanation as to why a guy who sucks that fucking bad keeps coming on for us instead of a guy like Martinelli. It doesn't make any sense.
Martinelli, at the very least, he's going to run at defenders, and defenders are going to be like, oh, shit, this dude's quick. He's going to run out. He's going to be direct. Where Willian, I saw his pass map. He had 21 passes. I think he completed 18 of them, and I think 4 of them were forward passes. The other 14 that he completed were backwards. As a fucking winger, as a winger / number 10, 14 of his 18 completed passes were backwards passes. Oh, my God. I'm sitting here 2 days after it happened, and I'm still I'm frustrated. It doesn't make sense to me. Another thing, though, that I came across a tweet after the game, and I forget who it was from, but it was somewhere on Twitter, and they said, when's the last time that we've actually been completely outplayed and dominated in the game and lost? And I had to search back. I was trying to come off my recollection. I was thinking, okay, Man City in the league, I know we got outplayed by them. And so I was looking through the Premier League schedule and what we played in, and I was checking the stats. Besides games, obviously, that we got red cards, because you get a red card 95% of the time, you're going to get outplayed. The other teams have more possession, more shots. But besides games where we got red cards, I was looking back. The last time we got outplayed, statistically and just on the pitch, watching it, was November 8th against Aston Villa when they beat us 3-0. And I remember watching that game. We got fucking smoked. We deserved to lose that game. But since then, we've played, I believe, 15 games in the league. And we've lost 6 or 7, maybe even 8 of them. And in all of those games, we weren't significantly worse than the other team on the pitch. So this is where I come back to one, decisions that are going against us from referees, and then 2, I just think that we have just a shitty run of luck at the moment. I think in a different season we could have 10 more points, so we could be right up there in the top 4 race. I just think things are not going our way at the moment. We're not finishing off chances. That's a big problem. I remember the joke last season was, well, if you guys didn't have Aubameyang, you'd be a relegation contender. And we've seen it this year that maybe we aren't a relegation contender, but we are a mid-table club without Aubameyang firing, because he's been really poor for us this season, and he's not there to finish off all the chances. And we're really missing that at the moment. And something's got to get turned around. I've been on here saying I'm giving Arteta through the end of the season. I'm not really going to judge him that much. I want to see what they'll back him in the summer transfer window and how he'll start next season. But yeah, I mean, all the bread is in the Europa League basket now. There's really nothing to play for in the Premier League unless we just go on an absolute insane run, which this season has had some wild shit happen in the Premier League. So I guess there's a small chance, but I don't really see it happening. We're just going to put all of our bread in one basket, and that's the Europa League, and just go full tilt in that, because I mean, there's not really much to play for now in the Premier League besides pride at this point.
This stretch was just so important, and like we started,
especially with the stretch we have coming up now.
Yeah, another tough stretch. Like we started out this stretch against a dub against Southampton, then we tie, and then loss and a loss. So I mean, right now, like that run to a top 4 is
that's not going to happen. I mean, something drastic has to happen.
It's tough.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, they can turn it around a little bit, but it's the league is looking very, very bleak at this moment. Now on to a team that is playing for something in the league, Manchester United.
Manchester.
They had quite the win during midweek against Southampton. Southampton, just like Arsenal, went down to 9 men. United, once Southampton went down to 10 men, they kind of just absolutely bulldozed them. There wasn't really much.
Yeah, no, I ended up watching that game, and oh my god, it was just literally, it looked like a pocket of Southampton players, obviously back in their defense, just surrounded by fucking a sea of
that was where the
red.
Entire match was played in that final third.
The entire match.
The entire time.
And, they ended up putting 9 on them because, when you just have possession the entire game and you're just putting shots after shots after shots, you're going to break through. And when they finally did, when it rains, it pours. They put it on them.
Yeah.
9-0.
Southampton, I think, was down to 10, and it was like 6-0 at the time. Bednarek got a red card. They went down to 9.
Yeah.
Ended up being 9-0, which, ironically, Bednarek, who got that red card, it was overturned by the FA, and he shouldn't have been sent off. It shouldn't even have been a penalty in the first place.
Go figure.
Very similar foul to David Luiz. His didn't get rescinded. You want to know why? Because that red card had nothing to do with the result of the United-Southampton game, and the red card in the Wolves-Arsenal game had everything to do with the result of the game. So that's my main issue. There's no consistency in the calls from referees. There's no accountability. If you say anything about the referees, if you're a player, if you're a coach, you get fined, you'll get suspended. But the referees there's just no accountability for them. That's my biggest gripe. But Southampton loses 9-0 for the second straight season. They lost 9-0 to Leicester last year.
I will say that the first red card of that match was definitely deserved.
Yeah, that was really early.
Holy moly, he cleaned that.
That kind of sucks for that kid. Like, I don't know what he's thinking. It's obviously on him, but that was his Premier League debut, and he lasted.
I saw that. I was like, oh my god.
He lasted like 90 seconds.
I guarantee the manager was like, wow,
what the fuck?
That literally couldn't have gone any fucking worse for your debut.
So yeah, United kind of made up for that goal differential when they got smashed by Spurs earlier in the year. They kind of helped their goal differential with that 9-0 W, and then they moved on to the weekend in what was a pretty wild game, the United and Everton game.
Yeah, no, I watched that one. I didn't watch that one live, but I went through, and Bruno Fernandes looked really good in that game.
That goal by him was
disgusting.
Dirty.
Just to have that awareness.
Dude, it was so nonchalant too. He just kind of like standing over the ball and was like, all right, here, and just like almost crossed it over his head.
Yeah. But no, it was a really good goal. But then Everton rising from the ashes and pulling it back within one goal, and literally it was, I think, over a minute of extra time.
It was supposed to be like 5 minutes of extra time, and it was close to the 96th minute when they had that free kick. And that was awful defending by United.
Yeah, it was.
Harry Maguire, dude, they paid $80 million for him.
Yeah.
A couple summers ago. He's not even worth half of that.
He's solid, but he just does so much shit.
He does dumb stuff, and he's like limited athletically. Yeah. He's slow as shit, and I think at some point, especially in the Premier League, when you're limited athletically with some of the guys you have to go up against in this league, I mean, you have to just be sound with every single decision you make, and he's not sound in that department either. So
I see so many like United fans complain about him too.
He's their club captain.
Yeah,
if that's your club captain, I know United fans may not want to hear this. Some of them have probably already accepted it, but if that's your club captain, you're not going to win the Premier League.
Yeah.
So that they might have already cost themselves in the title race, but that result, losing in the last second, I mean, City is really starting to pull away there. So yeah,
I think United's got to go on quite the.
I mean, they've almost got to win damn near every game the rest of the season.
And,
they have to beat City head to head whenever they play.
Now, the opposite of shitting the bed, we're going to jump right into Chelsea versus Spurs. And this game, even though wasn't really that fun to watch, I'm absolutely going to take a W against Spurs and just take the W itself. It was a 1-0 victory for us. It came off of one of the fucking dumbest penalties given away in the box.
That's some of the dumbest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah,
he was laying on the ground. He's like, "All right, screw it. I'm just gonna kick him and take him out."
Kick him right in the fucking leg.
Even if Werner gets onto that, they had other defenders in the box. I don't think that would have been like a guaranteed goal or anything.
Yeah, no. Maybe something comes from it, but not just from Werner. Like he really definitely would have had to go by another defender.
Which I will say with Werner, he is not scoring goals, which is pretty bad when you pay that much money for him, but that dude draws like hella penalties.
Yeah, he does. He's really good at that. But no, Jorginho ended up putting that PK away.
Finally, he didn't choke this. He did his, I know that normally he does his like little stutter step.
Yeah, he didn't.
He didn't do it that time, just put his foot through it.
But then, we'll get into it in a sec, but then he took another penalty against Sheffield.
Did he do it that time?
And he did the skip. He did the hop and the skip and fucking 1-2 right in the net. But, he was... he'd missed like one or two doing that skipping shit, and I was like, all right, man, maybe it's either time to take him off or switch it up, and he switched it up and he made it.
Yeah, that Chelsea Spurs game, there was only one team that actually looked like they wanted to try and go and win that game until about the 85th minute when Spurs decided, oh, wait, we're losing, maybe we should try and do something.
Yeah, it was
a little bit too late then.
I think we had like around 18 shots. Granted, 2 were on target.
Like 70+% possession or something at Spurs. I mean...
So yeah, I'll definitely take that W, and then we're going to move on into Chelsea against Sheffield. And overall, I mean, we dominated that game, even though we ended up giving up one. But it wasn't even Sheffield that scored it. Fucking Rudiger. I don't know why he's playing over Zuma, but literally just slots it away, bottom left corner of our net, trying to, kick it back to Mendy, which...
Hell of a goal.
Yeah, no, there was definitely some miscommunication there. I don't know if Mendy was in the wrong or Rudiger was in the wrong, but Rudiger definitely thought that Mendy was just going to stay back and then he could pass it back to him. I guess Mendy thought that he should have came out and grabbed it, and Rudiger just was like, oh, well, that's an own goal. So that was Sheffield's one goal, but then we had another Jorginho penalty. And then he did the hop skip, put it away, and then we had Timo actually got an assist. He took it basically to the almost out of bounds near the edge of their box and slotted it back to Mason Mount, who had a really solid connection on the ball and put it away bottom right. So that was a good goal.
Hey, 2 results. They weren't y'all dominated. You really controlled both games, but they weren't like the prettiest results in the world.
Yeah,
I feel like y'all kind of have a problem with like that final pass. Like y'all have all the possession and all, but it's like when you get in that final third, it's like that final pass. It's almost like your play. I've watched Chelsea play under Tuchel and even under Lampard before that, and it's like some of your players are scared to like take that risk and make like a tough pass or
or try to get by a guy.
I feel like Mount is a guy that actually tries to do stuff, and then Pulisic, which I was getting kind of worried. I saw he wasn't in the 18, but apparently they came out today and said that he had like a family issue, so that's why he wasn't in the 18 over the weekend. But it seems like
down my boy too.
It seems like Mount, Hudson-Odoi, and then Pulisic are the only 3 players that are like actually actively try and be direct and try and do something, whereas the rest of the team, I don't know, they seem kind of timid to me in some certain situations. But 2 wins. Y'all have now climbed up. You're right back in the top 4 race. 3 wins in a row. You go from like 10th to 5th, only 1 point off.
Being in 5th.
That kind of shows how crazy the Premier League schedule was. And obviously everybody on this podcast is happy with y'all's W over Spurs.
Absolutely.
Getting into Spurs, Speaking of them, they obviously lost to Chelsea. Mourinho. I said it last week. I just think that he's finished. Like the style of football that he plays is so bad. Like, I remember Spurs. As much as I hate Spurs, right? When they played under Pochettino, they were fun to watch. They were expansive attacking football while still being pretty sound defensively. They had a good structure. And Poch obviously went under that bad run of form last season and got sacked. I don't think it was rightfully so for him to get sacked last season, but they did it. They have Mourinho in now, and I don't see them doing anything with him. He might be able to put in one of his one-off master classes against Man City in the Carabao Cup that's coming up in, I think, like a month and a half or so, and get them their first trophy in years. But I mean, they're not going to finish anywhere near top 4. They might be able to squeak out a top 6, top 7 finish and finish in the Europa League. But I mean, I would favor Leicester over them, Chelsea, maybe even West Ham. I'd pick them to finish above them too, so they might not even finish there.
Granted, it doesn't help that you have your stud striker not playing, but even with him out, I mean, the rest of the team
you still got quality players there.
That
it's just their style. Their style is like they're playing Chelsea at home, and I realize Chelsea are like a good possession-based team, but they just were content to sit back and just try and hit them on the counter. And even their counter attacks were bad. Yeah. But speaking of Harry Kane, he was back at the weekend against West Brom. Spurs pulled out a W in that one, 2-0. I think they kind of controlled that game. West Brom is just not very good. They're not a quality side in the Premier League. They hired Sam Allardyce to try and save them from relegation, which is what his specialty is. But I don't think he's going to be able to. I don't think he's going to be able to do it this time. Pretty straightforward win for them. I was hoping Ainsley Maitland-Niles would get his debut for West Brom in that game, but he didn't.
Dude, their goal differential is -36.
West Brom's is?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Dude, Sheffield's is -22 and -36. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's just really bad.
That's terrible.
Sheffield is how many points? They're not that far behind them now, are they?
Sheffield's one behind West Brom.
Yeah, because Sheffield has actually had a decent. Yeah, they've won a couple games in their last 5.
Yeah.
Or West Brom lost, draw, lost.
Dude.
So.
Yeah, and I know it's off topic. Southampton have lost their last 5, dude. Holy.
Oh shit! I did not realize their form was that bad.
Not even a draw in there.
Southampton is so up and down under Ralph Hasenhüttl. I rate him as a coach, but they really are. They're like a seesaw.
Yeah.
They go through really good runs of form where they look like they'll be a tough out for anybody, and then they'll just go through runs where they just suck.
The opposite of that, though, Brighton absolutely turned their shit around. Like that's crazy how much better they've been doing.
Yeah, and speaking of Brighton, they got a big W earlier in the week against Liverpool. After not losing at home in like 3 years, lost 2 straight to Burnley and Brighton. Brighton came there, got the odd goal. I think it was Alzate that scored it, and then Liverpool, they couldn't score. And then to make it even worse, Liverpool play at home again on the weekend, and they play Manchester City, who are just absolutely flying at the moment. They had just came off of a win against, I believe, Burnley 2-0 over them, where they just completely dominated that game. But that was a big one over the weekend, Liverpool and Manchester City.
Yeah.
And I mean, in my opinion, I think barring something crazy happening, I think Man City, with that win and how dominant they looked, I think they've pretty much wrapped up the league. I mean, they're 5 points ahead of second place United with a game in hand, so you can essentially turn that into 8 points. And just the way they're playing right now is kind of unreal. They look like how they were playing a couple years ago when they had that 100-point season or whatever.
Yeah, and Phil Foden for Man City, I mean, just an absolute beast. He was everywhere, first of all, on the attack, on defense, you name it. He was drawing, I think he drew, I want to say over 3 penalties, 3 fouls alone. And then he had that one run when he got past the defender in the box, and then he had one guy in front of him that he had to shake, and he gave him a little move to the outside and brought the ball back in and hit it with his left over Allison. I'm talking had some pace on this ball, and it was in the top Benjamins.
And then he had that nasty that like assist chip over Allison.
Yeah,
that was Bernardo Silva that had that, wasn't it? Yeah, I think it was Bernardo Silva. But anyways.
No, that was Foden, I remember.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, no, he had it was either 1 or 2 assists and then a goal.
Yeah, England's got some freaking bad youngsters, dude. I know we're on here like talk about the U.S. men's national team, and we have
no,
some good youngsters, but England, they've Foden, Greenwood, Saka, Emil Smith-Rowe, Curtis Jones at Liverpool. They've got some really good young players.
And they still have, Sterling, Kane.
All those guys in their prime.
Yeah.
And some of those guys aren't even I think Sterling's still not even that old.
Trent Alexander.
He's only 21 or something like that. So they've got a.
They're stacked.
Yeah, they are stacked. But yeah, I mean, Liverpool in that game, Alisson, he had a stinker. What was it? It was before. Was it before Man City scored their third goal, or was it? It might have been when it was. It was when it was 1-1. He made a bad pass, but got lucky that it got deflected in a certain direction.
Yeah.
And
Liverpool the defender sent it back to him.
Yeah, and the defender sent it back to him, and he made another bad pass, and then they scored directly off of it.
That's kind of part of how they run that back line is that they encourage.
Well, that's the risk that teams like that take.
Yeah, if you're going to encourage your goalie to come out there and try to open something up or make something happen by drawing a guy in or allowing him to kind of be more free roam when he has the ball.
But at the same time, you've got to know, we might just need to get the ball away here, boys. Yeah. So yeah, that was not. And then he screwed up on the third goal as well.
Literally 5 minutes after that it happened.
Yeah, that was probably the worst game Alisson's had in a Liverpool shirt.
Really rough.
I mean, it's rough, but he's one of the better Premier League goalkeepers, one of the better goalkeepers in the world. So I'm sure Liverpool fans will forgive him, but it's not. Look, we were on here a couple weeks ago saying that we think Liverpool might be falling down the tubes, and then they had a good week. We're like, okay, are they back in the title race? Are they solidifying themselves back in the top four? And now they are falling down the tubes again. They're only 1 point ahead of Chelsea and fourth. They're in fourth place. Chelsea's in fifth. Only 1 point ahead of Chelsea and West Ham. And they're only 3 points ahead of Everton, who actually has 2 games in hand on them. So Liverpool right now, not only they're not looking very good for the title race. I mean, I think that's probably them out of the title race. But I mean, top four is looking a little iffy now. We talk about their defense. And I mean, Man City just tearing everyone up right now. I'm not really gonna.
Yeah, I don't blame them.
And 2 of those goals were just mistakes by Alisson. So, I'm not gonna blame their defense for that. But it's really their attackers right now. Salah, I know he's leading the Golden Boot race, but he scored the majority of those goals earlier in the season. And then Mane is not firing. Roberto Firmino is still just kind of he's a false number 9. He's not even a real number 9. That Thiago signing, who I thought on paper was a brilliant signing, he hasn't done that great for him. I think teams are just figuring out Jurgen Klopp's style of play. They use those fullbacks, Robertson and Alexander-Arnold, and just whip really good balls into the box. And I think teams figured out that, oh, wait, they don't really have, a great, striker to go attack the ball in the air. They don't have, a physically imposing striker. And so what they do, the team just man up. They make sure they double up out wide to handle the wingers and the wingbacks. And then they let their 2 center backs deal with Firmino in the box, or if Mane comes in at the back post, the other wing back can deal with him. And I just think they're struggling to break teams down at the moment. We saw that against Brighton. Brighton defended them pretty easily. It didn't even look like it was a difficult job for them. And then they get smoked by Man City, 2 teams that are kind of heading in separate directions at the moment. And, so I think that's pretty much the title wrapped up in my opinion. Obviously, this season's been weird. It's been crazy. Things could go weird for the next few months and somebody else could get back in it. But I don't see Man City faltering the way that they're playing right now. It's funny because they were struggling without Sergio Aguero, and then Gundogan has just turned into a freaking striker of himself now. He's been world class the past month or two.
Prime CR7. Yeah. Honestly, I've watched him in games and the runs that he makes, he finds open patches where the defenders aren't at, and he has time and space. And when you give him that, he's clinical.
I'm trying to think of is that maybe it's kind of like Lampard, how Lampard was when he played. He was so good at making those runs and being in the right spot, even as a midfielder. He'd always be in a striker's position to score. Yeah, That's exactly what Gundogan's doing. It's not just that he's great at finishing off chances. He's always there. The rebound off of the goal last night that he scored. Yeah. I mean, that's just knowing the positioning, knowing where to be.
No, Gundogan's giving me really, he looks like a really strong false 9. That's the vibes he's giving me.
Yeah, so he's been a real big key to their success, and then obviously Foden as well, as we just mentioned. And, they seem to be almost unstoppable at this point, and it's looking like the league could be wrapped up for them, and then now they've got to maybe they can keep this form going and maybe continue it into the Champions League as well.
Yeah. Shit, I'm hoping we can too. Bring that into the Champions League, Champions League. But
one step at a time for Chelsea.
Yeah, honestly.
Maybe y'all should just focus on trying to get top 4.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Time to jump into our weekly picks update. So last week we picked Arsenal, Wolves, Man U, Southampton, Burnley, Man City, Liverpool, Brighton, and Spurs, Chelsea. Let's get into those results. We did not fare too well in the Arsenal Wolves matchup. Each one of us guessed that Arsenal would walk away with a W, and of course that did not.
Didn't expect y'all to get 2 red cards that game, so that kind of threw a wrench in.
I don't think any of us expected that.
Yeah,
we were not really expecting the 2 reds there, and because of it, our scoreline looks red. So congrats to you guys. We all missed it.
Yeah.
Man U, Southampton. Logan actually incorrectly guessed this as a draw. Well, Jake and I both correct.
Once again, no idea that red cards were going to happen.
We were all very, very, very wrong about the score, as nobody predicted a 9-0 finish. I don't really know
we're idiots, man. How could we not predict that?
A 9-0 rout.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how that happened. Guess we let that slip through the cracks there. But
gotta get a fix.
Logan did make up for his little slip up there against.
Give me that 2-0, buddy. Give me that 2-0.
He did predict 2-0 in the Burnley Man City game. We all got the result right. We all just kind of went up each other on the score there. So Jake had 3-0, I had 4-0. So we all got a point there, except for Logan, who earned back 2 points. So good for him. And then Liverpool Brighton.
All got that wrong, didn't we?
Yeah.
Liverpool
did not expect Brighton to pull that one out.
I said last week the only logical thing to do here was to pick Liverpool, even though I literally said I want to pick Brighton, and I didn't.
See, I don't remember that happening, to be honest with you, so that just sounds like lies.
Go listen. Go listen. I got receipts. I literally said I want to pick my Seagulls, but I got to go with Liverpool. It's the only logical thing. And it wasn't. It was illogical because we've all so.
Nobody needs to know.
No one needs to know. And then Spurs, Chelsea, it appears that Logan and Jake both corrected that.
Boom, baby!
Chelsea.
So it appears that we have a lead on you at the moment.
It would appear so that
you are the leading candidate for the forfeit.
It would appear
for the murder that's
even
going to
though
go on
we've
if you
all
lose.
gotten the same number of games right in total, I think. You guys are 1 point ahead simply because
we've gotten
you
2
each got the
results.
correct score.
Yeah.
We'll
take it how we can get it.
I said that Spurs Chelsea would be a draw. It was not. It was a 1-0 win for Chelsea. And because of it, I am now in the fucking hole, a 1-point hole, but still a hole. And I'll be looking to make up for that this week with my picks. So, really excited to get into that.
So, it looks like we have now, before we go on to the upcoming Premier League action, we got to get into our U.S. men's national team rundown. And Jake's going to take it away for us.
So, this past week was a little eventful. Timothy Weah ended up scoring a goal for is it Lille?
No,
Lille, yeah. Against
Lille,
Bordeaux.
Let's put some respect on their name. Top of Ligue 1 in France. Top of the league, above Lyon, above PSG. So yeah, title contenders. Lille. Weah scored for them during the midweek against Bordeaux. He's been playing really well for them lately. Really excited. Hopefully, that's been the problem. His career so far has been health. He's I think he said he tore his hamstring 3 times in one season, which is absolutely incredible. He's been injury prone, and he's actually had a run of games this season where he stayed healthy, and he's looking really good for them right now. He also played against Nantes. I'm not exactly sure. I'm sorry to our French listeners. I don't really know how to pronounce that word. Nantes. Nantes. Not exactly sure how to pronounce it. Nantes. However you want to pronounce it. He played against them as well in a win for Lille. So he's looking good right now. And hopefully that translates over to the national team.
Then we're going to go ahead and swing it over to the Bundesliga.
That's the U.S. men's national team central, the Bundesliga. We got all kinds of guys in there.
Tyler Adams, 2 starts for Leipzig. He's another good up and
I
coming
believe
young
that was
player
2
for us.
W's for Leipzig as well.
Okay.
So he's getting good minutes for them.
Yes, sir.
Obviously a big club, Leipzig. So
another Bundesliga man, John Brooks, the Wall of Brooks, had
John
2 clean
Brooks!
sheets. Yeah, 2 clean sheets for Wolfsburg, so that's a big plus. Looking at the U.S. defense for us, he's definitely
he's like way
our
up,
best
man.
center back
He's
right
had
now.
problems the last couple of seasons, especially when it comes to the national team with staying healthy. But he's been healthy this season for Wolfsburg. Wolfsburg's have got one of the best defenses in the not the Premier League, the Bundesliga, and yeah, he had 2 clean sheets for him and Wolfsburg over this past week. So he's looking good right now.
Yep, another Bundesliga American man, Matthew Hoppe.
Yep, Matthew
2
Hoppe.
starts, but no goals for Schalke.
Schalke, I can't even get mad at them because I've seen Schalke play the last couple seasons and they are dreadful to watch. So I think they have like Amin Haritz is their only like halfway decent player that will supply goals, but the goals will seem to dry up for Matthew Hoppe. He had that flaming hot start.
Yeah, that was an insane game.
Yeah, had a hat trick, had another couple goals after that, and a couple of games afterwards. But the last couple of weeks for him, he hasn't scored any goals. Just kind of drying out a little bit, but it's always good to see him getting minutes in the Bundesliga.
Yeah, no, it's also a good thing for us just because we haven't had that
we don't have an established
striker in a while.
I mean, the last established striker. I mean, can you even count on Josie? I mean, you can't because he's hurt all the time. Plus, he's getting up there in age.
If he was playing in there, Dempsey maybe.
Yeah, I mean that's the last established striker we've had, and that was years ago. Yeah. I mean, a few years ago. So
another Bundesliga man, Chris Richards, debuted at Hoffenheim.
Yep.
I don't think they ended up winning that game.
No, I think they lost. I think they lost 3-1. I saw. It seems like Richards had a decent game. I saw some Hoffenheim fans saying that he looked good. Obviously on loan from Bayern Munich. I'm pretty key for him to get minutes for Hoffenheim. I mean, if he can start, if he's a consistent starter for Hoffenheim from now on the rest of the season, he's gonna be called in for the Gold Cup and the Nations League. And I mean, if he's starting for Hoffenheim, he's got to be that second center back, in my opinion, next to John Brooks. I mean, it's either him or Aaron Long, who plays in the, no disrespect, but he plays in the MLS. Walker Zimmerman also plays in the MLS. Matt Miazga plays in the Dutch league. I mean, the Bundesliga is a lot better than those leagues. So, I mean, if Richards is starting for Hoffenheim and playing good, he's got to be our center back next to old John Brooks.
We want to talk about that synergy too. Just both of them being in the Bundesliga, obviously both American, both at center back. They're gonna, have that Bundesliga style of play. I mean, it's gonna be a good duo.
Yeah, I mean, the only other guy besides Chris Richards, in my opinion, that I could see maybe establishing himself in Europe and trying to get a starting spot at the center back position would be Brian Reynolds, who obviously just got his loan move to Roma. He's yet to make his debut. I was hoping that would happen over the weekend, but maybe he'll break into that Roma team. If he could, that he would be a shout for that center back. But
that'd be huge.
We need that center back next to John Brooks. It's been John Brooks and then somebody for the last 5-6 years. And hopefully, if Chris Richards can put a good run together with Hoffenheim, he becomes that somebody and sets up a good partnership for the future of the U.S. men's national team.
Yep. All right. We're going to skip over from Germany to Italy and the Serie A.
Mamma mia.
The Wonder Boy. He gets another league start for Juventus.
It's just regular shit for Weston at this point. Just starting for Juventus, playing with Cristiano Ronaldo, Chiellini, Dybala, them guys. Just a regular, just an American over there chilling with some of the greats.
I mean, he's actually like, he's not.
He's an established starter.
Player. Like he's
I think he's gotten to the point where they played a cup game in the midweek, and he got rested in the cup game to prepare for the weekend, the league games. That's how important he is
on that team, baby.
He's one of their most important players, and I thought that he would play pretty well for Juventus, but I thought he would be like kind of like that first dude off the bench, and then maybe like rotate in the midfield every now and then. But I mean, he's one of the first names on the team sheet now, so he's done big things for Juventus, so I'm really excited about that.
Yep. Now going from Italy over to England, but not in the Premier League, in the Championship League, I guess we want to call it. We have Jordan Morris for debuts for Swansea.
Yeah, Swansea. Well, speaking of not the Premier League, they could be in the Premier League here soon. They look like they're one of the favorites to get promoted. Mm-hmm. Morris got his debut. He should have had a penalty. I actually watched it. I was looking forward to his debut. I watched it on ESPN Plus, and he should have had a penalty. He got just completely taken out from behind. Not like a direct it was like one of those clips from behind, and for some reason he just didn't get a penalty. But he looked lively when he came on, and hopefully he contributes to Swansea getting promoted for our Welsh friends, and hopefully Areola gets his debut here soon for Swansea at some point as well.
Yeah. And then last but not least, our boy DeAndre Yedlin.
One of the forgotten boys of the national team.
Debuts for
Galatasaray.
That's
one of the big clubs over there in Turkey. Came off the bench. He didn't start. In my opinion, he's got to find a way to become a starter there if he wants a way back in the national team. You've got Dest, who's starting at Barcelona. He's not going to pass him up. And then even Reggie Cannon, who plays in the Portuguese league for Boa Vista, but he's a starter. So those two guys are always going to get called in, especially for the big games over Yedlin. But if he could start getting some starts for Galatasaray, he may have a shout over Reggie Cannon, or at the very least, he'll at least have a shot to be in the squad for the future.
Left back
well, the thing is, Dest can play left back as well. So, I mean, you could call in 3 right backs and then only 1 left back if you wanted, just because you know that Dest can play left back when needed. And in fact, our best lineup right now might actually be Dest at left back and Reggie Cannon at right back. So, all right, now let's get back into the Premier League action. So we obviously there are some teams playing in the FA Cup this week, this midweek. Arsenal, unfortunately, is not, as you guys, of course, know. But we are going to skip the FA Cup for now. We're going to focus on the weekend Premier League games. We're going to preview them, give our predictions, and we're just going to start off with early Saturday morning. A very good one, in my opinion. Leicester versus Liverpool. Seems like a massive game for Liverpool at this point. It's a massive game for both
of them. Yeah.
Both are in the top 4, but with West Ham, Chelsea, even Everton right on Liverpool's tail, they kind of need to get a win, and it's at Leicester too, so it's going to be very difficult for them. What are y'all boys thinking for the score?
That's tough.
I'll go first then. Here's what
go for it.
Liverpool is hot. I know they had to slip up against Brighton, but
and Man City, they got fucking destroyed.
They got destroyed by Man City.
I think they're the opposite of hot.
Yeah, they've lost 2 straight. So what are you talking about?
I'm gonna say Mans was hot. I'm gonna say
Man's definitely not hot right now.
Liverpool have been like on a seesaw though recently. Like they look bad and then they look good and then they look bad and then they look good. So maybe this is their run of good form. Who knows?
I think they can. I don't know. I like Leicester, but I think they can kind of they can give Leicester the little bit of work. I think it's gonna be kind of similar to what they did against Spurs. Maybe even like they came out and they just got a shooting and. I'll go Liverpool. I'll go 2-1.
Interesting. See, I think Liverpool's defense, you have your 3 main guys that you rotated center back all gone. So you're having to sub in guys that don't play center back to
Henderson
fill in
and Fabinho have been playing there for him.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's for Henderson. That's not his.
That's what I'm saying. Like they're having to play center back with defensive mids.
And obviously they're still kind of getting their groove in that position.
And their attack is struggling right now, too.
Yeah, I know. Mane, he's looked out of form. Salah, he drew a penalty and put it away in his match against Man City. But outside of that, really, there wasn't much. Firmino's been a little lackluster. I'm going Leicester City. I think Leicester's counterattack is going to get the better of that defense. And their midfield, too, of Leicester has been really solid. Maddison's been in good form. So I'm probably going to go Leicester City. I'm going to go 2-1 Leicester.
So y'all both went 2-1, but in opposite picks, 1 Liverpool, 1 Leicester. I am actually going to go and pick a different result from both of y'all. I'm going to go with a draw. I'm going to say I'm going to go 1-1. I could see this game going either way.
Naughty.
Naughty.
Yeah, I'm going to go 1-1. I think Leicester, they have a good defense with Evans and Fofana, have some good fullbacks. And I think it's going to be tough for Liverpool to score, but I feel like they may just get the odd goal here. And then I feel like Leicester will score as well. And I think in the end, they'll probably share the points. So, yeah, 1-1 draw for me.
Okay.
And then another
results.
This weekend's got some good games. You have another pretty big game, I guess, on paper maybe. Man City versus versus Spurs. I think with that being said, of how it is a big game, I think we might all be in agreement here of the result in that game. I'm clearly going Man City. They're on an absolute tear at the moment. Spurs, they have Kane back, so I think they will put up a little bit more of a fight. And in fact, Spurs have had a couple good wins recently over the last few years against Man City, like surprising wins. But I'll go Man City 3-1. I still think that they're just on a roll right now. I think that roll continues. I don't think Spurs are playing nearly as good enough to be able to challenge against them.
Yeah, it's hard to pick against Man City at the current form that they're in right now. I'm also going to be picking Man City to win that game. I want to say that Spurs aren't even going to score in this game.
Yeah, that might be true. I don't even know if my 3-1. I just picked it just because maybe Kane and Son will combine once for a goal.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't see them scoring. I see the Man City's midfield dominating possession, and I feel like Man City's back line is gonna keep a clean sheet. So I'm going Man City. I'm tempted to go 3-0, but that sounds like I'm gonna go Man City 2-0.
I see great minds think alike there. I also said Man City 2-0. I think Spurs is trash. I think they're frauds.
Fuck Spurs.
Fuck Spurs.
Gotta get that in.
Fuck Spurs. And honestly, Man City, great form, like you guys were saying. Not much to say. 2-0 Man City. It's going to be the result.
Yep.
All right, so moving on to their noisy neighbors, United, or maybe Man City are United's noisy neighbors. They're playing at West Brom, and they're on the road against a team that's going to sit back and defend for their lives. Like I've said, United kind of struggle to break teams down that do that, but I have zero trust in West Brom. I don't think they're that. I don't really think they have much quality in their team, and
they got that negative 36 goal difference.
I think it's going to be negative 38 after this weekend. I'm going to go 2-0 win for Manchester United.
See, I'm going to one-up you there. I think it's going to be United 3-0.
We doing this again where we just keep one-upping each other? So you go for 4-0?
I'll go 4-0.
3 weeks in a row, we've all just one-upped each other.
I know, Captain. I'll take 4-0.
I mean, West Brom's definitely not scoring in my book, and it all depends on if Man United can get one early.
You never know with Harry Maguire. He might fuck up.
Yeah, that's true. No, but I think if Man United can get one early, like one in the first half, I think they can put up 3.
Very, very good.
So now moving on to the boys, the Arsenal boys. They got to bounce back. I mean, I know we said earlier in the pod that the league is pretty much done. You're really just playing for pride at this point. I don't think there's a chance of top 4, but I think there could be a potential chance at getting top 6, top 7, which will get you Europa League football. And which on that, I need to have a quick little just give my piece on something real quick. I've seen Arsenal fans the past couple years say, "Oh, I don't want to play in the Europa League. I'm tired of playing on Thursday nights and going to these Middle Eastern European countries that I've never even heard of, and I don't want to go play in these games. If we're not in the Champions League, I'd rather just only focus in the league." That doesn't make sense to me. You've had youngsters the past couple of years that have made a name for themselves in the Europa League, and I think getting in the Europa League helps them develop. And on top of that, it gives us extra money. I know Europa League doesn't give you nearly as much money as the Champions League will give you, but you still get extra millions and millions of dollars from playing in the Europa League. And with how tight money is just because of COVID in general, and then also Arsenal, their owners don't spend any of their own fucking money in the first place. So it's got to be self-produced money that we spend in the transfer window. I think getting Europa League football is pretty important. So I would like them to still shoot for that top 6 or top 7 finish so they can secure that. But if you want to have any chance of that, they've got to start at the weekend against Leeds. Hosting Leeds, it's got to be a win. Our home form has been really bad this year, but they've got to be able to bounce back from the 2 games this past week and get the W against Leeds. Will they? That's the question here. Look, I've got to put faith in my boys. I've got to put faith in them. I think Leeds are a quality side. In fact, earlier today they actually just passed Arsenal. Arsenal are now down to 11th in the Premier League table. Leeds passed them up. They're now 10th. But I think Arsenal will leapfrog them over the weekend on Sunday. I'm going to go with I think there's a response this weekend. I'm going to go with a 3-1 Arsenal win.
Okay. I'll go ahead and I'll give my prediction. Fuck you, Jake.
Word.
You know, it's been a pretty disappointing past week. We watched the red cards just ooze in against Wolves. We watched that whatever the fuck that was Saturday morning against Aston Villa. I'm sad. I'm disappointed.
It's rough as an Arsenal fan. That's rough. It's a rough life.
Boys down bad right
I could have told you. I did want you to I wanted someone to come support Arsenal with me, so I appreciate you for choosing to support them. But I also did tell you that this shit it's not a fucking fun road. There's some highs, but there's a lot of fucking lows as well.
And, Logan, I wasn't fucking done yet.
All right, keep going.
I'm disappointed. I'm sad. But we're not fucking done yet. We're not done yet.
I'm not fucking leaving.
You take back what you came here to set up for this fucking season on Sunday. You take it to fucking leave.
They need to fly you out and give them a team talk right before the game.
Absolutely. I'm ready to run through a brick wall. I'm not even an Arsenal fan.
No, not even thinking about it.
Hey, look, no excuses. We don't play during the midweek, so we have rest. We'll be rested for the game at the weekend. And does Leeds play in the – do they play in the FA Cup this week? I don't know if they do. I think they might be out of the FA Cup as well. So they'll probably have rest. Yeah, they don't play in the FA Cup either, so they'll be rested. But hey, so will we. You're at home. You've got to be able to bounce back.
I think we beat 3-0. Let's go.
3-0. Oh, shit.
3-0 over Leeds. Not so fast, my friend.
Okay.
Oh, fuck.
Here's what I'm thinking, right?
Fuck you.
Arsenal has lost 2 of their last 3, and the other third one wasn't even a win. It was a draw. Leeds have won 3 of their last 4 games with 1 loss.
Yep, so something's got to give. We're obviously winning this time.
I think Leeds rides the wave, but
I've heard that.
I don't think they win. I think it's a draw. I think Leeds and Arsenal draw 1-1.
Yo, what's funny is that Arsenal, obviously, they have a history of being like an expansive attacking football club, and Leeds under Bielsa, they've turned into the same thing. They play some really good football. They're not one of those teams that will just sit back and defend, even if they're on the road, like they'll be against Arsenal on the weekend. And yet, the last time they played earlier in the year is a 0-0 draw. But I don't see that happening again. I think it'll be a good game. I think it'll be an entertaining game. I think there'll definitely be some goals. So yeah, let's move on to one of the other teams in London. Chelsea host Newcastle, not on the weekend, actually on Monday at 2 p.m. our time, which was 8 p.m. UK time. What are you thinking, Jake? What are you thinking about the game?
I've liked our last 3 performances. We've got 3 dubs. I'm liking what Tuchel's doing. I think we ride that wave and we end up beating Newcastle.
Is Thomas going to play my boy Pulisic? I want to see him start.
We went over this, all right? We went over that he was having personal issues.
You know what I think? Like
family matters.
They say, oh, yeah, he had family issues. It was Super Bowl Sunday. And Pulisic is a big NFL fan.
That's true.
So he might have just been chilling at the house having a party for the Super Bowl.
So, hey, even more respect to my man, Tuchel. He respects the American
tradition.
Yeah. So, no, I'm definitely taking my Blues. I'm going to go 3-0 over Newcastle.
You see, if this was 2 weeks ago, it would be a very easy pick for me because Newcastle were absolutely terrible, playing terrible. They had lost like their last 86 games in a row.
Right.
But they've actually won a few games recently, and they are playing a lot better. They're defending better, and Miguel Almiron has been in good form as well as Callum Wilson. I think Chelsea are at home, though, so I'm going to go 2-1. I think Chelsea will win. I think it'll be a closer game than people think, but because of the way the Newcastle played recently, but I still just don't. I think Chelsea has too much for them, and with it being at Stamford Bridge, I still give the Blues the edge.
Good choice.
I also said 2-1 Chelsea. Like you said, hey, my boy Willock scored
Joseph Willock.
Scored in his debut. Great fucking goal. I think he scores again, but I don't think they get the win. I think Chelsea takes it 2-1.
I think that's the first time you've picked Chelsea as your winner so far.
No trolls.
I'm proud of you.
No trolls for Sling this week. So, with that being said, let's move into a new segment that we have created for the pod called Sling Speaks. Sling, take us away.
Welcome to the first edition of Sling Speaks. We've got a hot, juicy story for you this week. William Saliba, a young, up-and-coming youngster at the Arsenal, has been exposed.
Oh God!
It's not even exposure. This is
like within the last hour. We saw this during the pot while we're potting. We saw this on Twitter.
Yes, this is bad. If you want to figure, just go freaking search him up on Twitter. Oh, he's trending right now. I'll go and tell you what's going on.
Not safe for work, by the way.
Yeah, don't open it up in public.
You're not opening it up at your job. Your boss will fire you. Here's what happened. William Saliba, casually on Snapchat, was taking a video of himself and panned to his right. And guess what his teammate was doing as he was sitting right next to him? He was looking at his phone, stroking his fucking penis right in front of Saliba. Right in front of him.
Oh, okay.
He's jerking it right in front of Saliba.
Frenchmen built different, bruv.
Look, okay, I understand that, like, there are places in Europe that are much more comfortable with nudity than, like, obviously we have here in the United States, but I don't see how there's any place in the world that is comfortable with just, like, he's butt naked. He is butt naked in the locker room, sitting there and just beating to something on his phone.
Rubbing his fucking
naked with all the other teammates around him. And then on top of that, Saliba takes a video of it.
On the Snapchat.
So you're like, yo, check this out. My man is just...
So you know what? What I have to say, look, I didn't agree with Saliba going on loan. I thought he should have been given a chance. But maybe Arteta made the good decision because this man's got some wild shit going on.
He broke up him and Bellerin, man.
Him and Bellerin were in the locker room just going out.
Chill. Hey, we're accepting of every kind of race, every kind of
absolutely,
but just preference. We're just an accepting football club.
I'll end.
Maybe just like, oh my God, I don't get it.
I'll end.
Even if you're accepting of that stuff, like, why would you ever do that in a locker room with your teammates? And then why would you ever record it?
Go to the bathroom.
Why would you ever record it and then post it on? So this is what I don't understand. Did he post it on his story or did he like send it to someone?
He sent it to somebody and they like screen
recorded. Damn snake. Damn. They tried him. He low-key deserves to be exposed for posting that. Like, I don't know what
I'm just saying, if one of you guys send me a video like that, I'd probably have to expose somebody. Like, that's unacceptable.
That is some wild shit. This is a hot start to the Sling Speaks segment.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're going to be able to keep up this kind of intensity and intrigue next for the upcoming pod, Sling.
I'll tell you what.
You're going to have to dig deep into your bag.
I'll end Sling Speaks on this note. If you're going to jerk off in the locker room, go do it in the bathroom. Or if you're going to do it out in public like that, at least be well endowed. Okay? That's it.
It's pretty straightforward.
Yep.
So, so Saliba was definitely a big loser this week.
I think that's our unanimous loser here.
That whole situation was just a fat-ass L.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to our individual winners and losers of the week. Sling, if you want to start us off there, who you got?
Let's see. I'm going to say my big winner for the week, Manchester City. Manchester City, they've been on a tear lately, good form. Not to mention, they're just building that lead right now in the league. I think they're 10 points now ahead of Liverpool, who are the defending champions. So anytime you can separate yourself from the defending champion in the table, that's always good. So, Man City, they're my big winners this week.
I would have picked Man City just as the obvious pick. They're on a roll right now. They've won, how many of their last game? I've literally lost track. They just keep winning.
All of them.
Yeah, honestly. And they've increase their gap between Man United, especially with that draw against Everton. Leicester City also drew. Liverpool's lost their last 2 straight. I would pick Man City because it's a good choice. But for me personally, I'm picking Chelsea, and I know I'm a fan. But we've won our last 3 straight.
Bias.
And now we topped Tottenham because we had to beat them. They're now in 8th place, and now we are in the top 5. We're 1 point behind Liverpool right now, and if we win next week against Newcastle, and Liverpool doesn't win or draws, then we'll be in the top 4. I personally think Chelsea's my winner of the week.
Yeah, so I'm going to go a little bit off topic. I know this is a Premier League show based around the top 6, but my winner is Brighton. Just their play over the past few weeks. They've gotten a few big wins. They beat Spurs. They beat Liverpool. You look at their form recently; they're unbeaten in their last 5, 2 draws, 3 Ws. I remember we were looking at it in our first pod when we predicted the top 4 and relegation, and we saw Brighton sitting there as I think they were on 17 points or something like that. They were the closest to the bottom 3, even though we all kind of agreed that we don't really expect to see them get relegated. We did see that mathematically they were the closest to being in that bottom 3, and they have just, in my opinion, they've separated themselves from that. They're climbing up the table, playing some good football, and they're my big winners this week. So shout out to them.
Big winners. Shout out Saliba.
It's incredible. I just had to get that in there. But yeah, Brighton, unlike Saliba, are winners this week for me, and they've been winners the past couple weeks, and I just felt like they kind of need some well-deserved recognition.
Absolutely.
So let's. I'm going to give my loser real quick. Obviously, we had our unanimous loser in Sling Speaks with Saliba, but my loser and my big loser is the FA, the Football Association, that allows these fucking dog shit referees to get away with bullshit calls and bullshit non-calls every single week. And yet, oh, it's okay, buddy. No one can criticize you. Oh, you're not going to get fired. Here's your wages for the week. It's okay that you completely ruined a game and completely changed the outcome of the game. It's all right. It's okay that you gave this guy a red card when it shouldn't even been a fucking foul. It's okay, but you can't criticize them. You can't do anything about them. They're just there, and they're allowed to do whatever the hell that they want. Obviously, we touched on the Arsenal incident. We touched on the Southampton Man United incident. There was also another incident over the weekend. Thomas Souček is trying to get his hand out of the way of the opposing player very late in the game, and he nudges the dude in the face with his elbow while he's doing it. He's trying to move his hands out of the way, like to not commit a foul. Like you'll put your hands up, so like you're trying to say you're not committing it. And his elbow like brushed against the opposing player's cheek. And Mike Dean, it's the center of attention. Mike Dean, it's his favorite thing to do. He thinks that fans tune in to watch him referee footballing matches. He goes to the monitor, reviews it for about 30 minutes, and decides to give him the worst red card. I've seen some very bad red cards. The David Luiz one recently, the Bednarek one recently. This one might have been even worse. It was the most pointless red card I've ever seen, and it was like in the 97th minute of the game. Had nothing, like the game should have just been over by then. It was 0-0 draw, and yet Mike Dean's got to make sure, hey, got to have something to talk about from this game, so let me make myself the center of attention. And yet, I'm sure West Ham will try and get that overturned, and it probably will. It should be overturned. But once again, I mean, nobody tunes in to watch these referees referee matches, and they don't understand that. And yet, the reason why I'm saying my big loser is the FA is because they allow these referees to just do whatever the hell that they want, and there's no reprimand, there's no consequences for what they do. They continue to get their wages. They're immune to criticism, and it's becoming a joke at this point. It's the best league on the planet. The Premier League is the best league on the planet, and it has the worst referees. I mean, there's no excuse for that.
FA. Fucking assholes!
Outside of the whole Saliba video, I think my big loser for this week was Liverpool. They dropped 2 in a row. They were looking solid there for a second in the top 4, but now they're barely on the edge of top 4 with, Chelsea, West Ham, and Everton all within a game behind them. I think those 2 losses were costly, and I think they just got knocked out of that chance to maybe make a run for the title. But honestly, I don't even think any team's gonna have another chance at the title. As long as Man City doesn't lay an egg, I think they go all the way and win it.
God, they were my winners last week. They're my losers once again this week. The Arsenal.
It's just rough. First week it was Arsenal were losers. Second week they were winners. Now they're losers again.
Hey, seesaw, mother. Fake fuck. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that.
So yeah, I think that takes us to the end of a pod. A pretty interesting pod this week. Had a new segment. Had some twists and turns. We found out that there was some wild business going on off the pitch and on Twitter and Snapchat during our pod that kind of put a wrench in things. And
Word.
But yeah, it was a good pod again this week. And yeah,
mission success.
Great success.
Great success.
Before we get out of here, we want to remind you guys that we are on social media platforms. We're on Twitter at Clueless Yanks. We're going to have the description down below. We are also on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel, Clueless Yanks, that we post our podcast to right now. But in the future, we plan on doing some live match reactions. Me and Sling will hop on there and give our live match reactions to Arsenal games. We might do some match reviews as well. Just some quick thoughts as we build our channel going forward. We're also on TikTok where we post some funny clips from the pod. We post some out of context things from the pod. And it's a pretty good follow over there as well. But we appreciate everyone that tuned in again this week with our returning viewers and listeners. We've seen that it's pretty cool. We've seen that we have some people all over the United States listening to us. We even have some people from different countries in Europe. So shout out to you guys, and especially the ones that are recurring viewers. And then you people that are new here. Hopefully we didn't scare you off too much with the William Saliba thing. Just wanted to add some funny, lighthearted banter in there and something new. But we appreciate everyone new that is tuning in, and we will see you guys back here same time, same day. Monday evening releases here in the United States, early morning Tuesday releases over in the UK and the rest of Europe. But another good podcast with the boys, and we will see you guys next week.
Thanks for tuning in, y'all.
Hasta luego.
Take it easy, everyone.